Welcome to a series called the Book of Enoch, where we're going through the Book of Enoch, verse by verse, because the Book of Enoch is the greatest example of what it'll be like in the days of Noah, the end times. That's the exact description of the end times, as it'll be like the days of Noah. And Enoch was the great-grandfather of Noah, and understanding what it was like, and not just what the earth was like, but what the principalities of evil were like, and what, because that's not changed. It's changed slightly because some of those watchers were imprisoned, but generally speaking, the rules still apply, especially when it comes to the warring between good and evil. I want to know what it's like, and I know many of you, so we're going to continue to dig through. Where we are is the watchers have fallen angels, 200 laying with women. They gave birth to a race of Nephilim. They taught them the secrets of the world and the universe, and they used that to mutilate mankind, enslave mankind, and actually eat mankind. And then at that point, there was this kind of conversation between four angels and God about what to do about it. And now God's been divvying out punishment, which meant, ultimately led to put the one who taught the most harm to the world in prison immediately. Then have all the other children, what he refers to as the bastards of the watchers, have them start, the Nephilim, have them begin to battle against each other and then make the watchers actually physically see this, watch their children mutilate each other. And then that's where we left off. So we're going to pick it up in chapter 10, starting in verse 9. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have. And no request for they, i.e. their fathers, make of thee shall be granted until their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live in eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. Now, I want to kind of pause there for a second, because I think there's a very important lesson that we have to get from this. Because what we see here is that you have the children of the watchers, who are not good people, by the way. It's not like they're just being righteous and doing good. They're eating people and drinking their blood, is what it says here in Enoch. And they're committing mass fornication as well. But what we see is that the consequences of their fathers is death for them. And that's something we have to see as parents, as men and women on this earth, is that there's consequences for our actions, for our children. And you have to be aware of that. I mean, even look at David. David had the heart of God. And yet many of his children died because of David's sin over the years, because of his many wives, because of his fornication, because of his adultery, because of, many of his children. By the time Solomon ruled, almost all of them were dead except for Solomon, because of the sin. Literally, what happened to David is almost a similar thing to what happened to the watchers' children. And we have to open our eyes that this is a reality. This isn't just something that we could just go on, sin, commit fornication, sin, commit violence, commit this, do that, and then somehow our kids are just going to just flourish in the eyes of God. So this, I believe, is an incredibly important lesson that we have to dig into. I have 5 children, so I'm greatly concerned about my behavior, because I desire the hand of God to guard over them and protect them. And there's no part of me that wants him to take that protection off because of my unrighteousness. And I want to share a story. I've shared it before. There was one night where I was sleeping, and I was woken up. Somebody hit me on the foot and said, get up. And I didn't. I kind of rolled around a little bit, and then somebody hit me on the foot, and then with a very stern voice said, get up. And I immediately woke up, and the lights were on, and there were 2 men standing by my bed, and I was not afraid of them. I knew that they were angels. I knew why they were there, even. And they didn't look familiar, but I immediately knew who they were. And one was tall, with long hair and one with short hair, and they both had red and black, like almost like a Romans uniform, but not a Romans uniform, but similar. But in addition to that, they looked beaten and worn. They looked like they were dirty and they'd been fighting. And we were talking to each other, but we weren't actually speaking. It was like we were speaking through thought, but it was very loud, very clear. And I said, protect my family. And they said, that's why we're here. And I said, I'm trying my hardest. And they said, I know. And then they said, don't ever forget this. And then I fell into a deep sleep. Now, I often thought, well, what do they mean by don't ever forget this? But the conversation went, protect my family, and they said, that's what we're doing here. And I said, I'm trying my hardest. And at the time, I was really fighting. I was aware of fighting a spiritual warfare. I was aware of it. I was voluntarily getting up every morning and engaging in that war for years. And that's what I meant. I'm trying my hardest. And they said, I know. And then they said, don't ever forget this. I believe it's because they're protecting my family. And as soon as if I forget that they're protecting my family, why are they protecting? Well, because I can't just go around and commit sin on a regular basis, just sin here, sin that. Well, that's okay. And then somehow they're going to stick around. They're only there because God told them to be. A lot of people look at guardian angels and they worship them, but they're only there because God told them to be. If God said to pull out your sword and kill that person, they'd easily pull out their sword and kill you if that's what God told them to do. They'd be guarding you one second, killing you the next, because of the orders of God. They're soldiers is what they are, and they follow the orders specifically. Otherwise, they'd be the fallen angels. So I say all this because we have to open our eyes to that God guards over our families, and that doesn't continue in unrighteousness. That is for sure. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have. And that's the same thing that happened to David's children. So any thoughts or insight, definitely put that below.